Welcome to Housing After 60. I am Charles Odell. On this site, we analyze the math and the reality of senior housing to find your best options. Let's get started.
Welcome to another deep dive from Housing After 60. Today, we're looking at the hidden financial risks of where you choose to live in retirement, and this is all based on our latest research at housingafter60.com. It's a risk we've started calling the isolation tax, and believe me, it could cost you $250,000.
You know, this whole idea really hit home for me because of a house I was flipping. It was up in the hills outside Tucson. We're talking floor-to-ceiling windows, a sunset view that was just spectacular. I thought, this is a home run. Then, this retired surgeon walks in for the open house, and he doesn't even look at the kitchen, doesn't check the master bath. He just pulls out his phone, glances at a map, and says those exact words to me. The nearest level 1 trauma center, 37 minutes away. He just turned and walked out. And right there, in that single instant, my entire investment philosophy just completely changed.
And that one moment, that one comment, it redefined everything for us here at Housing After 60. We stopped prioritizing all those nostalgic features, the scenic views and the quiet seclusion. We started focusing on what a home's real job is after age 60, which is to be your logistical and safety hub. Because when it fails at that job, well, that's when it triggers what we call the isolation tax.
And here's what that tax looks like. $240,000. Now, this is not some made-up hypothetical number. This is the average financial penalty, the total cost of living in the wrong location over just 10 years of retirement. It's staggering.
So this isolation tax, it isn't just a vague concept. It's a real calculation. It's based on violating what we call the proximity principle. And the principle is actually pretty simple. If you're over 60, your main home absolutely should be within a 15-minute radius of two critical things: a level 1 trauma center and a full-service grocery store that has a pharmacy. If it's not, you are almost certainly paying this tax, whether you realize it or not.
So let's just break down those two critical lifelines, right? These are the absolute non-negotiables that determine not just how safe your home is, but its actual financial health as an asset as we head deeper into the 2020s.
Okay, first up, medical care. We love this analogy we use with our clients. Think of your home as a planet. For that planet to support life, your life, it needs to be inside a life-sustaining atmosphere. That 15-minute transit time, that's the atmosphere. We call it the golden circle. And look, we're not talking about just any urgent care clinic. Our research is very specific. It has to be a Tier 1 facility with 24/7 cardiac and neurological specialists on hand. Why? It's simple. In a stroke or a heart attack, every single minute you lose corresponds directly to a loss of brain function or heart muscle. Anything outside this circle is what we call deep space, and it's incredibly dangerous and financially punishing.
Now, the second lifeline, it sounds a lot more mundane, but trust me, it is just as critical: your grocery and pharmacy. I had this client on a gorgeous property, but it was a 45-minute round trip just to get a prescription refilled. What happened? Well, when he couldn't drive at night anymore, he started skipping doses because he didn't want to bother anyone for a ride. And just a few missed pills can so easily land you in the ER with a $50,000 bill. That's why we say this isn't about convenience. It's a core risk management strategy, plain and simple.
Okay, so let's get into it. Here's the actual math behind that huge $240,000 figure. We're going to walk through the three main ways this cost adds up. And hey, if you want the full technical breakdown with all the data and our calculations, you can check out the post on housingafter60.com. So the first component, and it's the biggest one, is appreciation, or really the lack of it. In the 2026 market, location is truly everything. We see homes that are in a hub, close to all these services, and they're appreciating at a really healthy clip. But those isolated properties, the ones with the amazing views but the long drive times, they are lagging way, way behind. We are consistently seeing a performance gap of about 3% every single year.
So what does a 3% gap actually mean over time? Well, let's take a $500,000 home. That difference between 5% growth in a hub versus just 2% growth out in isolation, it adds up to a staggering $150,000 in lost equity over just 10 years. That right there is the single biggest chunk of the isolation tax.
Next up, let's talk about direct, out-of-pocket costs. Care agencies are now charging something they call a zone premium for travel. It means if you live outside their standard service area, you're paying extra. A typical fee is about $45 per visit. For someone who needs care just 3 times a week, that premium alone costs over $70,000 over a decade.
And finally, there's what we call the maintenance multiplier. Plumbers, electricians, roofers, guess what? They all charge for travel time.
We've seen markups of 20% or even more on basic repairs simply because a property is in an isolated zip code. Over 10 years of just typical home maintenance, we estimate that adds at least another $20,000 to your costs. So you add it all up, and you blow right past that $240,000 mark.
Now, this slide breaks down how you can actually start to figure out your own risk. I mean, a basic audit using Google Maps is a fantastic starting point, and it costs you nothing. But a professional audit can uncover some much deeper issues. As we noted on the site, our research also points to these hidden zoning risks, like, for example, being in an area that won't let you build a small apartment for a caregiver. That kind of restriction can seriously damage your home's future value and how useful it is to you.
So, when you look at all these costs piling up, our research really suggests this whole thing comes down to a fundamental choice. A choice you have to make about the real purpose of your home as you get older.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. It illustrates the decision you're facing. Is your home an asset that's rooted in the cold, hard logic of your future needs? Or is it an anchor tied to the nostalgia of your past? See, that quiet seclusion you might have cherished for years can actually become a liability. The emotional memories are priceless, of course, but they don't pay for in-home care. In this market, for this stage of life, logic has to win. Logic must beat nostalgia.
So this is the one question our research really leaves us with. It's all about shifting your perspective. You have to stop looking at the view from the porch and start looking at the logistics of the map. The key insight here is that in the 2026 market and beyond, convenience isn't some luxury. It's the ultimate form of insurance for both your health and your wealth. Your home has to be a strategic asset that is built to serve your future. Thanks for watching. For more guides and the full article on this topic, head over to housingafter60.com. And don't forget to check the links in the description below.
Your peace and enjoyment in retirement depends on the right housing strategy. Visit housingafter60.com for our full analysis and cost transparency guides. I will see you in the next video.